Hello everyone! In this video I'm going to show you how to use LinguaTutor, an AI-powered bot for language learning. My name is Andrei. I have lived in different countries and had to learn different languages along the way. Today I speak 6 languages: English, Russian, Polish, Ukrainian, French and Belarusian. And I don't plan to stop. I created the AI bot and I'm about to demonstrate how it helped me tremendously in learning new languages, and I'm excited to share it with you. So, here's what we'll be covering in today's session. First, I will introduce you to LinguaTutor and explain what it is all about. We'll talk about its key features and the benefits it offers to learners like you. Then, we'll look at how LinguaTutor is built as a custom GPT, essentially becoming an assistant in your pocket that is always ready to help you learn. After that, we'll set up a learning journey together. I'll show you how to select your native language, choose the language you want to learn, and prepare the system to work for you personally. Once the setup is complete, we'll move on to exploring the learning modes one by one. We'll begin with translation practice. First, translating words from your original language into the target language and then switching directions to translate from the target back to the original. Next, we'll dive into the friendly chat mode, where you'll see how the bot can carry out conversations, correct mistakes, and keep the practice both interactive and fun. From there, we'll explore how LinguaTutor can act like a real teacher by explaining grammar topics in simple, clear ways, always supported by examples. We'll also take a look at the test generation mode, where the system will create personalized quizzes to check your understanding and challenge your weak spots. Finally, we'll finish with personalized recommendations. You'll see how the bot can generate tailored study plans and guide you on what to do next in your learning journey. By the end of this lesson, you will not only understand how each mode works, but also see practical demonstrations of LinguaTutor in action. And of course, I will encourage you to try it yourself, because the real power of this tool lies in hands-on practice. Ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to introduce you to LinguaTutor, an innovative AI-powered assistant designed to transform the way we learn languages. Now, if you think about traditional methods of learning, textbooks, grammar exercises, flashcards, they often feel repetitive, sometimes boring, and most importantly, not very adaptive to the needs of each student. LinguaTutor, however, changes this dynamic completely. So, what exactly is LinguaTutor? At its core, it is your personal language learning companion that you can interact with at any time. Imagine having a tutor available 24 hours a day, always ready to explain grammar rules, practice conversation with you, or even generate a quick vocabulary test. Unlike human tutors who may only be available at specific times, LinguaTutor is there whenever you want to practice, whether it's during your morning commute, late at night before bed, or even in the middle of the day between classes. But availability is just one advantage. The real power of LinguaTutor lies in its key features. First, it allows you to chat naturally in the language you want to learn, while correcting your mistakes instantly and providing translations where necessary. This creates an environment where you can practice safely without the fear of being judged for errors. Second, it can translate words and phrases in both directions. So whether you want to go from your native language to the target language or practice the reverse, you are covered. Third, it offers topic-specific vocabulary practice, which is extremely valuable if you are, for example, preparing for a job interview in IT, working in finance, or studying medicine. Another remarkable benefit is personalization. LinguaTutor doesn't simply follow a fixed curriculum. Instead, it adapts to your progress. If you are struggling with verb conjugations, it will provide more examples and targeted exercises. If your vocabulary is strong, but your conversation skills are weak, it will encourage more interactive dialogues. Finally, it can even generate personalized recommendations and study plans, ensuring that you don't waste time on areas you already master, but instead focus on your weaknesses. So, as you can see, LinguaTutor is not just another app or chatbot, it is a highly flexible, interactive, and personalized learning partner. And as we move through today's session, you will see how each of these features comes to life with practical demonstrations. Before we dive into the demonstration, let me briefly explain what GPTs actually are and how they fit into our work as professionals. OpenAI, the company behind this technology, is primarily a research organization. This means that many of the tools, including the GPTs feature, are available for you to test for free. However, the free access does come with very strict limitations. You might be able to try the concepts I'm showing today, but your usage will be capped rather quickly. Now, for those who choose a paid plan, the situation is very different. With a subscription, the limits are much higher, and the GPTs feature becomes a tool you can truly rely on every day. I should clarify, I am not here to promote subscriptions or sell you anything, it's entirely up to you. But I do want to make an important point. In today's AI-driven era, not having a powerful, customizable assistant at your disposal means falling behind. Your competitors, whether they are other companies or even your colleagues, who do adopt these tools will be able to work faster, more effectively, and with higher quality. That is why in this lesson I want to show you a practical example. I have created my own custom GPT bot. In the attachments to this lesson you will find the link so you can explore it yourself. Today we will not focus on the process of building such bots, that will be the subject of a separate lesson. Instead, we will focus on usage. Here on the screen you can see a collection of AI applications based on generative AI that I have developed. And in fact, there are quite a lot of them available on the website. Each one is designed with a different purpose in mind. Some of them focus on professional use, such as business analysis or project management, where they help you write requirements, analyze tasks, or structure work breakdowns. Others are tailored for personal growth and career advancement, for instance, chatbots that can prepare you for interviews or even help you practice learning new languages. But not everything has to be strictly serious. Among these applications, you will also find lighter and more playful tools, such as an excuse generator for work, or small interactive games that show just how flexible this technology can be. The idea is to demonstrate not only the productivity side of AI, but also its ability to bring creativity and fun into our daily routines. In the attachments to this lesson, you will find links to these applications. So I encourage you to check the page AI apps itbulls.com when you have some time. I am quite sure you will discover both useful and entertaining tools that you would genuinely enjoy using. Some may help you in your professional life. Others may simply make you smile, but together they show the broad spectrum of possibilities that custom GPTs can unlock. Now, let me share my screen and get started with a demonstration. You've heard the theory, but it's always more impactful to see how these ideas work in practice. I will walk you step by step through my custom GPT bot, showing you how it responds to real tasks. And in case you will have any questions, please post your questions below the video and I will be happy to answer. Now let us take a closer look at the interface of the chatbot itself. At first glance, it might appear very simple, a single chat window with just a few buttons. But in reality, it is designed to be both intuitive and functional. One important detail I would like you to notice is the name of the bot at the top of the screen. If you click on it, you will find additional options, including the possibility to leave a review. And I want to emphasize this. Leaving a review is not just a formality. It directly motivates me as the creator to continue building new bots and enhancing their functionality. At the same time, it also helps other professionals and students to discover these tools more easily, because reviews are a way to share your experience and guide others towards something that might be useful for them as well. Now that we have a general understanding of what LinguaTutor is and how it can help us, let us move on to the very first step of actually using it. setting up your personal learning journey. You see, language learning is never one size fits all. Each of you comes from a different background, speaks a different native language, and has different goals. That is why LinguaTutor begins by asking you to define two simple but crucial parameters: your native language and the language you want to learn. Why is this important? Well, the native language acts as your foundation. The system needs to know from which base it should build your new skills. For example, if your original language is English and your target language is Spanish, LinguaTutor will generate tasks, translations, and explanations in a way that bridges these two languages effectively. But if your native language is, let's say, Spanish, and you want to learn German, the entire experience will be shaped differently, taking into account the structure of Spanish grammar versus German grammar. In other words, the bot adapts its explanations and exercises according to this initial setup. So I just click this button to set up a language. I enter English. Now bot asks me which language I want to learn. I told you during the introduction that I don't plan to stop learning new languages. Let me learn one more language now. I enter Spanish. Once you have selected your languages, the next step is to choose a learning mode. And this is where the flexibility of LinguaTutor really shines. Some learners prefer starting with vocabulary practice, translating words back and forth. Others enjoy conversational practice, where they can test their speaking and writing skills in a safe environment. Still others may want to review grammar rules, take structured tests, or simply receive recommendations on what to focus on next. All of these options are available as distinct modes, and you can switch between them at any time. This means you are never locked into one way of learning. You can adapt your journey as your needs evolve. As you can see on the screen, once you have set your native and target languages, LinguaTutor presents you with a set of learning modes to choose from. Each of these modes has been carefully designed to support a different aspect of language acquisition. The first mode allows you to translate words from English into Spanish. This is a straightforward but very effective way to expand your vocabulary. You are given a word in English, and your task is to provide the Spanish equivalent. Over time, this builds a solid base of active vocabulary that you can recall quickly. The second option, translating from Spanish back into English, works in the opposite direction. It reinforces your comprehension and ensures that you not only recognize Spanish words but also truly understand their meaning. Often, this reverse practice exposes gaps in knowledge that you might not notice otherwise. The third mode, friendly chat to practice Spanish, is one of the most engaging. Here you interact naturally, as if you were having a conversation with a native speaker. The bot corrects your mistakes on the spot and provides translations when needed. This makes it an ideal way to improve fluency and confidence in using the language. Long time ago, when I just started learning different languages, I was always looking for native speaker to talk to. There were special apps where you could do language exchange, probably. They exist today too. But this feature helped me a lot in learning different languages. Next, we have the Explain Some Topic option. In this mode, LinguaTutor acts almost like a professor itself, breaking down grammar rules and language concepts into clear, simple explanations, always accompanied by practical examples. If you ever felt lost with verb conjugations or the use of articles, this is the place to get clarity. The fifth mode, Generate Tests, is for those who want to challenge themselves. The bot creates quizzes and exercises, sometimes fill in the blank, sometimes grammar focused, that help you test your knowledge and identify weaknesses. Finally, the last mode provides personal recommendations. Based on your activity and performance, LinguaTutor can propose a personalized learning path. This might mean more vocabulary practice, more conversational work, or a deeper dive into grammar, depending on what you need most. Let's review some of these modes in action. Now let us turn to the first learning mode, translating words from your original language into your target language. This approach may seem simple at first glance, but it is one of the most powerful methods for gradually expanding your vocabulary. The principle here is straightforward. The system presents you with a word or sometimes even a short phrase in your native language, and your task is to provide the correct translation in the target language. What makes this mode effective is repetition and instant feedback. When you give the correct answer, the bot congratulates you and immediately provides a new challenge, keeping the pace dynamic. If you make a mistake, you are shown the correct version right away, and the word is remembered by the system so it can appear again later. In this way, the bot applies a form of spaced repetition, a proven technique for long-term memory retention. So I select first mode, I click 1, and exercising starts immediately. I am asked to translate one word from English to Spanish, and after entering translation, you will get another word to translate. But vocabulary learning is not limited to generic words. Very often you may have a specific goal in mind. For instance, you might be preparing for a job interview in the IT sector, working on a project in business or finance, or studying medical terminology. LinguaTutor allows you to request words and phrases from a particular domain. This means your practice is not only strengthening your general vocabulary, but also equipping you with a specialized language that you actually need in real-life contexts. So let me type in chat the following command. Give me words related to ET to translate into Spanish, and you will get completely different set of words to practice. If you want to increase complexity, you can ask bot to generate sentences. Let's practice translating sentences. This is extremely powerful exercise. Over time, you will notice how your vocabulary grows, not only in breadth, but also in depth, especially when you work with specialized topics. Now, before we move further, let me remind you that switching between modes in LinguaTutor is very simple. If at any time you decide you want to try another exercise, all you need to do is press 1, and the bot will once again present you with the list of available modes. This flexibility allows you to move seamlessly between vocabulary, conversation, grammar explanations, or tasks depending on your immediate needs. The second mode, translate words from the target language back into the original language, operates almost identically to the first one we discussed, with one key difference: the direction of translation is reversed. Instead of receiving a word in English and translating it into Spanish, you will now see a word in Spanish and will be asked to provide the equivalent in English. This exercise is equally valuable because it strengthens your comprehension skills and ensures that recognition is just as strong as recall. To demonstrate, let me intentionally make a mistake during translation so you can see how the system corrects me. Notice that the bot does not simply mark the answer wrong. It shows the correct solution and gives me another opportunity to reinforce the learning. In the same way, you can request words from a particular topic, whether that's technology, medicine, or business, or even ask for entire sentences to translate, which makes the practice more dynamic and realistic. As you can see, this mode complements the first one beautifully, because working in both directions ensures a more complete command of vocabulary. Now that we've explored how basic and topic-specific word translations work in both directions, let us continue and look at the next mode. Now, let me press 1 to change the mode, and this time we will select mode 3, which is a friendly chat practice. At the beginning of such a conversation, the bot will ask you to choose a topic you would like to discuss. This makes the learning highly relevant and engaging because you are not simply repeating isolated phrases. You are actually talking about something that interests you. For example, I could decide to practice my skills in the field of information technology, so I would type in IT as a chosen theme. Once I do that, the bot immediately responds in Spanish, greeting me and suggesting that we start talking about technology. It even begins with a very simple question to encourage conversation. What makes this so powerful is that I can answer in either English or Spanish. If I use Spanish but make grammatical mistakes, the bot will automatically correct me. So I learn not only to communicate, but also to refine my accuracy. If I reply in English, it will translate my words into Spanish and then continue the conversation in Spanish, keeping me immersed in the target language. And here lies the real beauty of this system. Imagine that at some point I do not understand what is being asked. I could simply type something like, "Sorry, I don't understand," and the bot will immediately adjust, providing the explanation or translation I need. Or perhaps I know part of the answer, but I'm missing one or two key words. I can ask for those translations, and the conversation continues smoothly. This adaptability creates a very personalized form of learning. Instead of a rigid textbook exercise, we're engaged in a flexible dialogue that changes according to our needs. This is precisely the kind of personalization in education that we have all been searching for. A system that listens, that corrects, and that adapts itself in real time to the student's level of understanding. It is no longer just about memorizing rules or lists of vocabulary. It is about interacting with a responsive tutor who guides you step by step toward fluency. Let's switch the mode and check the next one. The next mode is dedicated to topic explanations. This is where LinguaTutor truly behaves like a teacher. Instead of testing you or engaging in free-flowing conversation, the bot takes a specific area of grammar or usage and breaks it down into very clear and simple terms. Many students find grammar overwhelming when it is presented only in theoretical rules. However, when those rules are explained step by step with plenty of examples, they suddenly become accessible and easy to apply. What makes this mode especially effective is that the explanations are not abstract. For every concept introduced, LinguaTutor provides concrete examples so that you can immediately see how the rule works in real sentences. For instance, if we want to understand how the past tense is used in Spanish, the bot will not just tell us, "This is how you form it." Instead, it will show you sentences, highlight the verbs, and explain why a particular form is used in that situation. This bridges the gap between theory and practice, and it makes the learning process much less intimidating. Let me now demonstrate how this works in practice. Imagine that we want to explore the rules of the past tense. Here is exactly what we would type into the chat. Please explain the past tense rules in Spanish with examples. After entering this, the bot would respond with a clear explanation of how the past tense is formed, and it would illustrate the rule with several sentences. You might see examples in Spanish with English translations and clarifications on why the verbs take those forms. In this way, grammar is no longer a dry list of forms to memorize, but a living structure that you can actually use in everyday communication. The clarity of the explanations combined with immediate practical examples makes this mode an invaluable tool for learners who want to build a solid foundation. As we continue exploring LinguaTutor, we come to the fifth mode, which is dedicated to test generation. This mode is particularly valuable because it transforms passive learning into active practice. While explanations and conversations are important, it is only through testing ourselves that we discover what we have truly mastered and where we still struggle. LinguaTutor excels in this regard by generating personalized quizzes that target the areas where you need the most improvement. Unlike traditional tests, which are often rigid and uniform, here the quizzes adapt dynamically. If the system notices you are consistently making mistakes with verb conjugations, it will present more exercises on verbs. If you have difficulty with vocabulary, the test will lean toward fill-in-the-blank sentences, where you must recall the correct words. In this way, your practice is never random but always aligned with your personal weaknesses. Moreover, the test formats are varied. Sometimes you will encounter a sentence with missing words that you need to fill in correctly. At other times, you will face multiple-choice questions where you must choose the grammatically correct option. This variety keeps the learning process engaging and also trains your brain to apply knowledge in different contexts. Let us now see how this looks in action. Suppose I want to practice grammar in Spanish. I can simply ask the bot to generate a test, and it will immediately provide me with a question and several possible answers. I then select what I believe is correct, and the bot not only tells me whether I was right or wrong, but also explains the reasoning behind the answer. This ensures that every mistake becomes an opportunity to learn. For example, I enter B option.
and depending if answer correct or wrong, I will see different answers. I can just specify in chat topics that I want to cover in the test. For example, generate tests to practice the past and future tenses. As you can see, the experience is interactive, corrective, and tailored to your learning journey. You are not simply memorizing, you are applying knowledge under a small challenge, and that makes the retention far more effective. This mode turns study time into a dynamic, almost game-like experience where progress is visible step by step.
Finally, let us arrive at the sixth mode, which is perhaps the most unique and forward-looking feature of LinguaTutor: personalized recommendations. Up to this point, we have seen how the system can translate words, hold conversations, explain grammar, and even test our knowledge. But the real question for every learner is this: what should I do next to improve most effectively? This is where LinguaTutor becomes not just a tool, but a genuine coach. The bot observes your performance across different activities, whether you struggle more with vocabulary, with grammar, or with fluency in conversation, and then generates a tailored improvement plan. This plan is not generic. It is built on your own interactions. If you consistently make mistakes with verb conjugations, the recommendation may be to focus on grammar explanations and target practice in that area. If you handle grammar well but hesitate in free conversation, the system may suggest moving to the friendly chat mode to build fluency and confidence. In other words, LinguaTutor is constantly adjusting itself to your level, making sure that your energy and time are spent where they matter most. What makes this so powerful is the way it guides you step by step. Many learners are unsure about what to do after a lesson. Should they review vocabulary? Should they attempt a test? Or perhaps practice speaking? By analyzing your performance, the bot provides a clear next step. It is like having a mentor who is always watching your progress and giving you personalized advice. Now let me show you how this works. Imagine that I have just completed a few translation tasks and a grammar test. I can simply ask the bot to generate recommendations for me, and it will produce a personal study plan that tells me exactly where to focus next. I just selected mode and bot generated tailored recommendations for improvement. In the similar way, you can ask bot to generate a study plan for week or months. Just ask it in a conversational manner like you would ask your tutor. So, to sum up, mode 6 closes the circle. It does not just deliver information or exercises. It reflects on your journey and points you forward, making the entire process of language learning truly adaptive and personal. That's all what I planned to discuss with you in this lesson. Let's recap what we've learned today. We started by exploring what LinguaTutor is, along with its key features and benefits for learners. Then we looked at how it works as a custom GPT, becoming a personal assistant for language learning. Together, we set up a learning journey by selecting a native and target language. We went through different learning modes, practicing translations in both directions and having a friendly chat. We also explored how the bot can explain grammar topics clearly with examples and generate personalized tests. Finally, we saw how LinguaTutor provides tailored recommendations and study plans to guide further learning. That's all for this lesson. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a great day and see you in the next lesson.